Minutes, sponsored by Valley Health.
Hi, I'm Melanie Schaefer. Welcome to Monday Health Minutes with Valley Health. Diabetes affects millions of Americans, and everyone wants to get it under control. Some of the tools to kind of gauge whether it's under control, your A1C. So we're talking with Dr. Michael Amos about that day. He has special emphasis in diabetes management. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So great information to pass along to people. Let's talk about A1C. What exactly is it, and how can we help get a better score on it?
Perfect. So an A1C is actually an average. That's the basis that I want folks to realize. A lot of people come in and then they say, oh, I'm fasting for this and that. And I say, well, that's good, but for your A1C, we are just looking at an average. So what it does is it looks at the blood sugars over the last 3 months, and it looks at the red blood cells. So when sugar is high, it attaches to the red blood cells in a more concentrated manner. And so we have more of a sugar load on those red blood cells, and we measure that with an A1C. And we look at that average over the life of the blood cell, which is 90 to 120 days, or roughly 3 to 4 months.
So should we be repeating this test every 3 months, or is it more like a once a year, twice a year test?
So it really depends on the diagnosis. If you are a diabetic, the recommendation is that every 3 to 6 months, depending on the control that you've had, is where you want to be. If you're not, or if you're pre-diabetic, then you can space that out even to 1 to 3 years.
Okay. And since it's the average, like you said, it's not a test you can fast for to kind of change the results.
Right.
But what lifestyle changes can you start or stop to get a better A1C score?
Perfect. So I think a lot of that focuses on watching carbohydrates as one of the kind of bedrock principles nowadays. The carbohydrates are things that become sugars when you come into the body, and so when they break down, they get attached to those red blood cells. So if we just stop taking them in as much, we're able to change that. And so when I talk about carbohydrates, I'm talking about the breads, the pastas, the regular sodas,
the ice cream.
Yes, the ice cream. And so it's always a challenge, but I think in the long run it's something that can pay off for folks.
And so in addition to dietary changes and not having so many sweet things,
right,
what about exercise? What about other things, water intake? Do those come into play in helping your A1C level?
So they are kind of ancillary things that come along. So exercise will burn the sugar that you are using or that your body might produce on its own, which is a little bit of a complicating factor. And then the water and healthy drinks are going to help in the long run improve your health, which can bring down your A1C. So kind of ancillary things that can plug in as well.
But the primary thing would be diet. Like
yes,
you can't outrun your diet.
That's a beautiful saying and perfectly sums it up.
So you got to do that first and then couple it with other things. So if you're having trouble with your A1C or with your diabetes, how can you pull in your team? How can your healthcare team help you get a better read on it?
So thankfully here at Valley Health, we have a great system for this. Between our physicians like myself that treat a lot of diabetes, we also have clinical pharmacy, behavioral health, and dietary. And so it's nice that we're able to field a multidisciplinary team to help folks really get a handle on their diabetes. To break that down, of course, as a physician, I'm going to be looking at the labs, looking at your comorbidities or other health conditions that go along with diabetes, and then also looking at ways that we are already working to treat you. From clinical pharmacy, they are kind of the fine tuners. They come in and can help us change your medicines. Even on outside of the 3-month visits, they can call you every week to 2 weeks to help really get intensive management. Behavioral health is great to have on board because diabetes is hard. It's a chronic condition that you never really can escape, but there's hope and there's well management that you can do, and so it's great to hold that in part of what we do.
Right.
And then dietary, of course, we talked about outrunning your diet, right? And so they are helpful to help us fine-tune that diet and really listen to you and find the best route.
Yeah, it is long-term. Like you said, it's a lifelong, so you have to figure out how to deal with it step by step.
That's exactly right.
Dr. Amos, thank you so much. A lot to think about, and we hope we've helped people get some information that can help them in their journey.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here for Monday Health Minutes.